In the vast darkness of the universe lies a small blue world unlike anything else. It's not the largest, the brightest, or the oldest. Yet here life dances, sings with the wind, grows in the embrace of light, and dreams beneath the stars. This is Earth, the place where water flows, the sky hums softly, and a creature called human gazes upward, wondering where it all began. Today, we live in comfort, surrounded by love, technology, and civilization. But all the beauty we celebrate did not come from an age of peace, nor from a gentle story of calm beginnings. To truly understand how terrifying Earth can be, we must first travel far back in time, leaving behind forests and skyscrapers, rivers, clouds, and blue skies. We must trace time back to an age when the word comfort didn't exist, when life had yet to be imagined, back to when the sun had not yet shone and earth had no name, when all that existed was darkness, gas, and emptiness. And there, we would witness something magnificent, the death of a giant star, which would become the beginning of everything. Long before the sun's first light, long before Earth took its place on the cosmic stage, there lived a massive star in a quiet corner of the galaxy. It was no ordinary star, and its body was dozens of times larger than our sun. Within it, the elements of life were being forged. Carbon, oxygen, silicon, and iron, all contained in its blazing, fiery core. But like all grand beings in the universe, its life was not eternal. When its nuclear fuel was spent, the star began to lose control of itself. Gravity crushed it from every side until its core collapsed. In an instant, it exploded in one of the most powerful events in the universe, a supernova. This explosion was not the end. It was the beginning of something new. The shockwaves from the supernova swept through space, carrying with them the stardust rich in life's building blocks. From the ashes of its death, a nebula was born, a massive cloud of gas and dust that would one day be called the solar nebula. Slowly, gravity began to work in the swirling cloud. Dust gathered and spun, condensing in the heart of the cosmic fog. A single point light began to glow, the first light of a new star, the sun. Around 4.5 billion years ago, Earth formed from the leftover dust and rock, created by collisions between cosmic objects within the protoplanetary disk. But the newborn Earth was nothing like the calm blue world we know today. This was the Hadean Eon, a time when the planet's surface was covered in oceans of churning magma. There were no solid continents, no seas, no blue skies, only boiling lava and a thick, toxic atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur, and water vapor, with no trace of oxygen. Earth's internal heat came from several sources: leftover heat from its formation, the decay of radioactive elements, and the constant bombardment of celestial bodies. One of the most dramatic events of this time was Earth's collision with a protoplanet named Theia. The impact hurled massive amounts of debris into orbit, which eventually came together to form the Moon. This event not only created our planet's natural satellite, but also stabilized Earth's axial tilt, a factor that would later play a crucial role in shaping a stable climate. The Hadean Eon lasted until about 4 billion years ago. Harsh as its beginnings were, it was in this chaos that the foundations for life were laid. Slowly, Earth's surface cooled. A thin crust formed, and water vapor in the atmosphere condensed into rain, falling for thousands of years to create vast ancient oceans. This was the first step in Earth's transition from chaos to conditions that could support life. a transformation from a world of fire to a world of water, from emptiness to possibility. After millions of years of destruction and cooling, Earth entered a more stable geological phase around 4 billion years ago, the Archean Eon. This was a crucial period marking the dawn of life. Although the atmosphere was still dominated by carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia, and temperatures remained high, Earth now had abundant liquid oceans, the perfect environment for the first life to emerge. Deep within the ancient seas, near hydrothermal vents, life began in the simplest of forms. Single-celled microorganisms called prokaryotes. They had no nucleus and thrived in extreme conditions, drawing energy from chemical reactions in minerals rather than sunlight. Over time, some of these microorganisms evolved into cyanobacteria, the first photosynthetic organisms, producing oxygen as a byproduct. Initially, this oxygen reacted with iron in the oceans, creating layers of oxidized iron deposits still found today. But once the oceans became saturated with iron, oxygen began to accumulate in the atmosphere in a massive event known as the Great Oxidation Event, around 2.4 billion years ago. This event marked the transition to the Proterozoic Eon and drastically altered the atmosphere, triggering the extinction of many anaerobic microorganisms that could not survive in oxygen-rich conditions. The rise of oxygen not only transformed the air but also paved the way for more complex life. During the Proterozoic, eukaryotic cells with nuclei and internal structures emerged through symbiotic relationships between different microorganisms. This was a milestone in evolution, as eukaryotic cells became the foundation for all multicellular life that would later dominate Earth. By about 600 million years ago, toward the end of the Proterozoic, the first multicellular life forms began to appear. This signaled Earth's entry into a new chapter, an era when life would not just survive, but thrive, diversify, and spread across countless ecosystems. After billions of years of struggle between geology and biology, Earth had slowly transformed into a world not just alive, but full of the potential for even more complex life. Now imagine standing at the edge of an ancient ocean about 540 million years ago. There are no bird songs, no trees, no green landscapes. The land under your feet is barren, dry, and silent. But as you dive into the warm, shallow, crystal-clear seas, an astonishing scene greets you. Oceans teeming with strange, never-before-seen creatures. This is the start of the Paleozoic era, and we are witnessing the extraordinary Cambrian explosion. In a geologically brief period, marine life evolved at an unprecedented pace. Countless new creatures with both soft and hard bodies emerged. Trilobites with compound eyes and hard shells, marine worms, jellyfish, and mysterious predators like Anomalocaris with its circular jaw. For the first time in Earth's history, life had developed complex body structures complete with nervous systems, muscles, and organs. Over time, life began to move out of the oceans. In the Silurian and Devonian periods, primitive plants like mosses and small ferns began to line the coastlines. Soon after, the first winged insects flew over swamps, and fish evolved into creatures capable of surviving on land, the earliest amphibians. But every leap forward in life's progress came with destruction. The Paleozoic era ended with the Permian mass extinction about 252 million years ago, when over 90% of Earth's species vanished. The atmosphere shifted dramatically, temperatures soared, and the oceans became lifeless. The world fell silent once again, but not forever. From the ashes of extinction rose a new era, the Mesozoic. the Age of Giants. We step forward to 200 million years ago into lush, warm, prehistoric forests. Towering tree ferns and cycads dominate the landscape. From a distance comes the sound of life, and as we peer through the foliage, we see a creature unlike anything we've ever known. A dinosaur. Huge, loud, with piercing eyes, it moves gracefully as though it rules the earth. In the skies, pterosaurs spread their wings against the wind, while the oceans are home to colossal reptiles like plesiosaurs. The Mesozoic was an age where Earth became a stage for nature's greatest forces. Dinosaurs evolved into countless forms, from towering plant eaters like Brachiosaurus to deadly predators like Tyrannosaurus. Early birds like Archaeopteryx began to beat their wings, marking the transition from reptile to bird. But once again, balance would be shattered. Around 66 million years ago, a 6-mile-wide asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. The impact unleashed energy equal to billions of nuclear bombs, sending dust into the atmosphere and blocking sunlight for months, even years. Photosynthesis stopped, food chains collapsed, and the giants vanished. The world was silent once more, but not empty. In the stillness, small, warm-blooded, furry creatures that had long hidden in the shadows of dinosaurs began to emerge. They were mammals, and in their hands lay the next great chapter of Earth's story: humanity. The extinction of the dinosaurs was not the end of life on Earth, but the beginning of a new chapter. Calmer, cooler, but slowly filled with intelligence and awareness. This was the dawn of the Cenozoic era, beginning 66 million years ago and continuing to this day. With no giant reptiles dominating the land, small mammals finally had the space to thrive. They evolved into a wide variety of forms, from massive grazing beasts to deep-sea whales, tree-climbing apes, and fierce feline hunters. Flowering plants spread far and wide, creating grasslands and forests rich with life. The world regained its colors, now in a more balanced web of ecosystems. The Cenozoic is divided into several important epochs, one of the most defining being the Pleistocene, starting about 2.6 million years ago. This was an age of shifting climates, with cycles of ice ages shaping glaciers at the poles and sculpting Earth's landscapes with icy hands. Large mammals like woolly mammoths, cave lions, and wild horses roamed the frozen plains of Europe and Asia. Among them was a small, newly emerged species that began to show something different. They were not the strongest or the fastest, but they learned to make fire, tools, and language. They were humans. From the genus Homo, many species appeared, evolved, and disappeared, but one line endured: Homo sapiens, or wise man. Around 300,000 years ago, they began migrating out of Africa, exploring continent after continent, leaving traces in caves and bones and painting their dreams on stone walls. Around 11,000 years ago, the last ice age ended. The ice melted, the climate warmed, and civilization began to rise. This marked the Holocene epoch, a narrow window in Earth's history, but one of profound importance to humanity. In this time, humans shifted from hunting to farming. The first cities rose, languages were recorded, kingdoms were built, and technological revolutions began. Humanity no longer simply lived as part of nature, it began reshaping it. In just a few thousand years, a blink in geological time, humans mined metals from Earth's depths, sent signals into space, and even left footprints on the moon. Earth began to change drastically, not from volcanoes or asteroid impacts, but from the actions of a single species: humans. Some scientists now call this era the Anthropocene, an unofficial but increasingly accepted label for a new epoch when humanity has become the planet's dominant geological force. Humans can now alter the climate, reshape ecosystems, create entirely new materials like plastic, and even bury nuclear waste in Earth's crust. From tiny creatures once hiding from dinosaurs, humans have become architects of the future. But no matter how great our impact, our story is still just a part of something far larger. The story of Earth itself, a story of change, birth, destruction, and rebirth. Today, we live in the most complex age in our planet's history. Cities reach into the skies, satellites orbit above, and digital screens glow day and night. We can speak across continents in seconds, map the genome of life, and peer into the past billions of years through powerful telescopes. Human civilization has reached a point where we not only understand our world, but also recognize where we came from. We now know that the elements making up the human body, the carbon in our muscles, the calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, all came from the cores of long-dead stars. We don't just live on Earth. We are part of Earth. And beyond that, we are part of the universe itself. Earth, with all its present comforts, was not the product of a sudden accident. It is the result of a star's explosion, of billions of years of turmoil and patience, of collisions, destruction, and creation. In every grain of soil beneath our feet lies a history older than any civilization. In every breath we take, we inhale oxygen that was once poison to the earliest life forms. And ultimately, this awareness leads us to one profound truth. We are the universe's way of knowing itself. A star that once died, exploded, and scattered into dust has now risen again, able to think, dream, and wonder through us. From emptiness, from dust and fire came life, consciousness, and hope. In this video, we've traced billions of years of Earth's history, from the explosion of a giant star that created our solar system, to a planet once filled with lava, battered by cosmic impacts, and slowly transformed into a home for life. Ancient ages filled with cosmic collisions, oceans of magma, toxic skies, and mass extinctions that nearly wiped out all life. But are these horrors truly only in the past? After the age of dinosaurs and the ice ages, has Earth finally become completely safe? Or does it still hide a face just as terrifying? One that no longer comes from ancient volcanoes or giant asteroids, but from human technology and climate change, slowly destroying Earth from within? From space, Earth looks like the safest place in our solar system. Not scorching hot like Venus, not frozen like Neptune, and not battered by eternal storms like Jupiter. Its blue is calming, its waters flow gently, and life seems peaceful. But like a palace built atop a volcano, beauty can be deceiving. The modern Earth is no longer filled with lava or toxic gas, but today's threats may be even more dangerous because they come from human hands and from natural forces we still cannot tame. This is the world we live in today. A world that has come close to destruction not once, but many times, and still faces threats right now. In the 20th century alone, humanity fought 2 world wars that claimed tens of millions of lives. But perhaps the most terrifying moment came when atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. For the first time, humans held the power to destroy the entire planet in mere hours. Today, it's estimated that there are over 13,000 active nuclear warheads around the globe. One mistake, one button pressed, and civilization could disappear. This danger has not gone away even in times of peace. In the shadows of modern conflict, from the crisis in Ukraine to tensions in the Middle East, we should remember that we live in a world that can ignite at any moment. Forests are being cut down, oceans choked with plastic, and the air filled with pollution. In just the past 100 years, we've altered Earth's ecosystems faster than in the previous 10,000 years combined. Species vanish daily and the climate is changing dramatically, all in the name of industrial growth and economic expansion. But we forget that this planet has limits. Nature is not silent. It stirs every day, often without our notice. Global-scale disasters could strike at any time. History offers many examples of events that could change the world overnight. One is the eruption of a supervolcano. Beneath the surface of the United States lies a sleeping giant, the Yellowstone supervolcano. If it erupted, it could eject thousands of cubic kilometers of ash into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight for years and plunging the world into a volcanic winter. Crops would fail, food chains would collapse, and billions of lives could be at risk. Another danger comes from massive earthquakes and tsunamis. Mega-thrust zones off the coasts of Sumatra, Japan, and South America hold the potential for quakes over magnitude 9. Such events can trigger massive tsunamis that destroy coastal regions within minutes, as seen in the 2004 Aceh tsunami and the 2011 Japan disaster, where tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands died in a single day. And then there is climate change, a slow but deadly catastrophe. Whether we notice it or not, global temperatures are rising. Polar ice is melting, sea levels are climbing, storms are becoming stronger and more frequent, and droughts are forcing millions from their farmland. If this continues, vast parts of Earth may become uninhabitable by the end of this century. We live in the digital age now with artificial intelligence, space missions, and advanced technology. But none of this guarantees Earth's safety. In fact, our progress has made threats more subtle, more complex, and harder to control. Earth no longer threatens us with fire as it once did. Now it threatens silently with stronger storms, slowly rising heat, and invisible viruses. Today, we can pretend everything is fine. But if we do not change, history may record our time not as the peak of civilization, but as the beginning of its collapse. We must remember that among all the wonders of the universe, there is no place as unique as Earth. It is not just the third planet from the Sun. It is the only known oasis of life in the cold, dark, cosmic void. Here, water flows, air fills our lungs, and sunlight warms our skin each morning. Here, trees grow quietly in their ancient wisdom. Mountains stand as eternal guardians, and oceans roar with the endless song of life. But none of this will last if we forget how fragile our home is, and that we are just one small part of a much larger ecosystem. Earth has given us everything: shelter, food, water, and air. And how have we repaid it? We've cut its forests, poisoned its rivers, drilled into its core, and ignored its warnings. Too often, humans act as though the planet cannot break, as if Earth exists solely to serve us. But every breath we take is the work of countless leaves producing oxygen. Every drop of water we drink has traveled a long path from cloud to rain to soil. Every bite of food we eat comes from an intricate, delicate ecosystem. We live because Earth allows us to live. But life is not always peaceful. Recently, history dealt us a harsh reminder. A tiny virus, invisible to the eye, swept across the globe in a matter of months. COVID-19 came like a shadow over the bright light of modern life. Millions died. City streets fell silent. Hospitals overflowed. Tears fell quietly in homes that had become mourning halls. Children lost parents, and parents lost children. The world saw just how fragile human life is, even in an age of advanced technology.